What is up, YouTube? E equals MCU. About to go back in between the lines. We got a story here from We Got This Covered in relations to Deadpool. So let's take a look at it. Now this story, there's two stories that's in one. I'm just doing one video on this because they're both related, but this story is in relation to the upcoming Deadpool 3. It talks about the creative team reportedly that was involved with Deadpool 1 and 2 is out, and Marvel Studios wants to put their own creative team in play, and I'm going to get to that. And then the other story is that they possibly want Taika Waititi to direct the upcoming Deadpool 3 movie. Now let me just state that for the record, I do not buy this 100%. Any news cycle that usually come from We Got This Covered, you have to take it with a huge grain of salt. They're claiming that this information is coming from the people that gave them the tip on the same ones who told them about the development months before Ryan Reynolds confirmed that Deadpool 3 was in the works, and also that She-Hulk show was coming to Disney Plus. So they seem to trust the source that they're getting this information from. But going into the article here, it says according to our intel, the Marvel Studio boss is aware that Deadpool 2 wasn't enthusiastically received as the first movie, and is looking to pick his own director and writers for the project, with Ant-Man and the Wasp scribes Chris McKenna and Eric Summers said to be in the running for the gig, among others. From the interviews that Reese Wernick were given regarding Deadpool 3, the duo certainly made it sound as though they were set to be involved in some capacity, but everybody knows that Feige's decisions are final when it comes to the MCU, regardless of how much input Ryan Reynolds has previously had in the direction of the franchise. It seems that there's still a chance that Reese and Wernick could return. It isn't set in stone right now that they will, and the same goes for Leitch. Again, Reynolds wants him back, but it's said that Feige has someone else in mind. Who might that be? Well, we now know what they're reporting, so let's move on to the second report. And they're stating that Thor Ragnarok director Taika Waititi is set and eyed to helm Deadpool 3. This is where it gets interesting. Now, with this information, it says that Ryan Reynolds, star producer and co-writer on the series, will likely have something to say in Deadpool 3's creative team. Although the final say will ultimately be Kevin Feige's, scripting duo Rhett Reese and Paul Wernick have admitted that they were watching for Feige's approval to start cracking the story. But the director's chair remains empty, and now we've heard that Taika Waititi is one of the names being considered. Waititi is one of several names being looked at to get behind the camera on Deadpool 3, and the studio narrows their search for a director. It's unclear if Marvel has formally approached him, but it's said that his name has come up in discussions. So let's put this together and let's go in between the lines of what they're stating here. They're basically saying that they don't know really if the writers of the previous Deadpool movies and director are out. It's probably up in the air right now, and the only reason why I'm really making a video on this and why there's some believability to this is that as you guys know, the 2022 schedule was released, and Deadpool 3 was not one of the 2022 movies. Now, with Deadpool 2, latest release being in 2018, if you're Marvel Studios, man, you can't go too far in between. Like, they got so many trilogies and franchises. It's like, how far are they gonna really go in between sequels? I mean, we all know that Doctor Strange sequel is gonna be 5 years from 2016 to 2021 when it gets released. 4 years for Thor between Ragnarok and the new one, and this is all because of Infinity War and Endgame. But with Deadpool 3 being a new character and having to be reintroduced, this is why I theorize he probably will get that February 2023 slot. It sounds like they may be already in work on this. As far as Taika Waititi being the director, I think that's a perfect choice if it is true. But you have to keep something in mind here, and that is that Taika Waititi is doing Thor Ragnarok, which comes out in November 2021. If this was true, would he realistically go right from production on that right into Deadpool 3? I mean, if you look at the pros and cons of this story and what may be true, what may not be true, his relationship with Ryan Reynolds is ironclad. He stated before that he wanted to work with Ryan Reynolds, so that's the reason why this has believability. And in most Marvel movies, they're always going to have their own writers. That doesn't necessarily mean that the Deadpool writers are not going to get to craft the story. What they'll probably do is bring in their own writers after the Deadpool writers have written it, so that they can have their own writers kind of mend whatever story it is they're coming up with to put Deadpool into the MCU. You have to have writers who have written in the MCU before and who are familiar with what is going on in the MCU to kind of bridge those gaps. So it'll probably be a team effort. It might be 4 or 5 writers on it. I'm sure the Deadpool, team is still gonna be involved. As far as the director, because the second Deadpool kind of didn't do as well as the first, I can see them bringing in a third different director. And if you're going to bring in anybody out of the MCU family, it'd have to be Taika Waititi because of his relationship with Ryan Reynolds. So I don't think there's any fire here, so to speak, if this is really smoke. I think this is all pretty self-explanatory from the information that they're given, but it is still exciting to wonder about nonetheless, because we are in the dark on what's going on this production. So that's what I think about it. I want to know what you think about it. Let me know down in the comments section, and till next time.